Oh, goodness gracious. Hello, YouTube. There's just no video that I can make where this doesn't surprise me and it turns on its own. I'm trying to find a way to put this bottle where I can keep it there so there's at least something on the left side of the screen. I don't have any like stuffed animals or anything branded to look like me or anything like that. So if you're that kind of person, I don't know if I can get it from the post office. Oh, I need to make an effort to go to the post office either. Well, this week. I'm probably not going to make it today. I'm Shaggy Philalitea, for those who don't know me. Today is day 23 of my being homeless, and today has been a major success for me. What an incredible success story for everything that I believe in, everything that I've been telling you, paying it forward, being polite, telling people where you're at, being yourself, and being grateful. There's a certain class of person who's really concerned with getting things for free. And there's a metric of personal worth that people use around free shit. And so what I mean is there are people who test their personal value based on how much free stuff the world gives them. And there's a reason for this. Sponsorships for 100 years have been telling us that the people who are loved by the world and the people who are valuable in the world get free stuff. They get free gear to play music with, or they get free food, or they get free hotels. You know how. You understand how influencers work. I don't need to explain to you how influencers work, but I will. Influencers work by advertising a lifestyle that is provided by a mega corporation. So if let's say you're Bradley Cooper. No, Bradley Hall, the internet guitarist who was on the cover of Guitar World magazine last year. Or I can't remember any of those other guitar guys' names. What you don't want is a recording contract, because a recording contract isn't free stuff. Yeah, sure, the record may be paid for, probably not. Sure, the venues and the marketing and the promotion and all that might be paid for. Maybe, probably not. What you want is what that Ichiko Nita, is that his name? I think he's Japanese. I think he might be female or transgender or gender fluid, and I don't think it matters. My point is, what you actually want is for a guitar brand, specifically Gibson, but you want a guitar brand to make a signature of you. You want a signature guitar, and you want a signature amp, and you want at least one signature pedal, because those are provided to you for free, and they have your name on them, and they say, I'm valuable. You know how valuable I am? I'm $2,600 guitar valuable. And craftsmanship and quality and all of that doesn't go into your value, into your personal value. That's what you want, is free shit. Everybody wants free shit. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I'm not here to tell you that that's a bad way to live your life. I'm here to tell you that, it crossed my mind while I was shooting from that McDonald's, before that just went to total shit, that McDonald's might pay me for advertising their product. They might get really behind what I'm doing and help me have a bigger voice. Or any of the mega corporations, Panera, etc. But I didn't have a groundswell of people who believe like I believe, who were willing to support that. So, and McDonald's corporate can eat my dick. So we'll just move past all of that to the story I want to tell you. I have been telling you for days that there's a church group that I've been meaning to go to see if they can help me with a jacket. And really what I wanted was a jacket, gloves, maybe a new pair of socks, and a hat. Well, I got a hat today. I got a new scarf today. I got a jacket today. Not just a jacket. I got a jacket that I actually really like. A red flannel, heavy, thick-ass coat. a new flannel shirt, a new sweater. I got stick deodorant because my can deodorant is stressing me out. I don't know why. I know exactly why, because it was August and it was hot as balls. And so what I didn't want was a stick deodorant that was going to melt. And then as soon as I got comfortable with the idea of having an aerosol deodorant, it got just at freezing at night. So I have to sleep with it and I cannot spray it on my person. So I've been spraying it on my clothes, fine, but if you spray it on your person, as cold as it's been in the morning or even at night when I do my cleaning ritual, if I were to apply it, I would absolutely give myself freezer burn. That's called frostbite. Freezer burn, like I'm a bag of peas in the back of my refrigerator freezer. No, you'll freeze the skin. Because the aerosol, the CO2 coming out is whatever 10 or 15 degrees colder than the air around, and stays that way. Gets colder when it hits the air. You spray that on your body, and you'll give yourself frostbite right there everywhere it touches. And by you, I mean I. If I do that, I will do that, and I know that because I sprayed it on my shirt the other morning, and it definitely froze the shirt. I could feel it flash freeze the shirt. So I'm walking out of my like, fuck, that's cold. I've learned new techniques for keeping my shoes and my socks warm. I need to figure out ways to do that because sticking my feet into actual frozen boots and socks first thing in the morning is how I'm going to give myself frostbite on my fucking feet. I got gloves. I got 2 pairs of gloves even. What else? They hooked me all the way up. Stick deodorant, Band-Aids. They got me more Band-Aids and bandages for my feet. And see, the way they do it is a 10 credit system. Everybody gets 10 credits that last you through the month. And then I think it's a week. Once a week or once a visit, you're allowed to pick out one outfit of clothes. And so I might be able to go there in a month if it gets real bad and get another jacket. And anyway, I walked in and I was me. I was polite and I smiled and I said my pleases and my thank yous, and I helped the older women who were there, and the women who worked there, I guess they just fell in love with my je ne sais quoi, with my bon vivant, with my joie de vivre. Joie de vivre means joy for life, and that's what I have. If you don't know French, je ne sais quoi means I don't know, and bon vivant means a person who likes the good life. So a bon vivant is actually somebody who drinks too much wine and enjoys the company of hookers too much. But a bon vivant, and out of my mouth, is somebody who's a philosopher, somebody who lives a good life. And then joie de vivre is just joy for life. And we don't have those idiom in English. That's why I reached to the French. But I guess they just fell in love with my joie de vivre because I told the one lady, man, you really put in your 12,000 or your 2,000 steps for me today. And she actually laughed. She knew what I meant. She'd really busted hump for me, and she didn't need to. She didn't bust hump for any of the other people who were in there that she knew. And I know why. They were all rude. They all just took the service as for granted because it's free to everyone. Like that commercial. I actually am getting, I think it's Lincoln Mutual. No, it's Tubi. Is that right? Yeah, Tubi. Tubi's free. It's free TV, right? And so they go, Tubi's free for everyone. It's free for the teachers who stay late to make sure that their kids graduate. And it's also free for the kids who skip class to throw rocks at abandoned buildings. It's free for everyone, right? And so this place is free for everyone. It doesn't matter what your actual situation is, right? And a lot of the people who come in there could manage their lives so that they don't need that stuff. I see the cars. They show up driving cars, for instance. I see your lives. And they think that they've hit either a certain age or are a certain class of being, female, and that they deserve free things. And so they absolutely, this is why they have such strenuous rules and why there's a 10-point system. Because people will abuse the free stuff. They'll just take stuff they don't need. They don't even need it. And so I came in and I looked, and They were like, here's where everything is, here's what everything costs, here's all this stuff. You look through what you need and you budget it for the month. And I looked at it and I was like, well, I live in a tent, so I can't, like, the expensive stuff, the stuff they really wanted to make sure I had: shampoo, body wash, toilet paper, uh, cleaning supplies, to make sure that my house isn't just full of bacteria. And that's the thing, is the people who come in there that need that stuff, their houses are just full of mold and bacteria. And so they don't really appreciate how important cleaning is, and how important the overhead of having adequate and appropriate cleaning supplies for your home is. And so I was explaining to them, well, I can't use, and I have body wipes. And they were just so thoroughly impressed with my startup to being homeless. The one, after I explained to her that I had all of that, I was just missing heavy clothes. She basically asked me, like, well, how did you get started? And I said, well, she goes, well, how did, tell me your story. What happened? And I said, well, it's embarrassing, but I spent 3.5 years in a really abusive, violent relationship. She wouldn't let me get a job. She wouldn't let me do things. She wouldn't let me leave the house in a meaningful way without threatening to lock the doors behind me, this sort of thing. And she goes, man, she goes, that's just awful. She goes, well, how do you keep, what did you do? And I said, well, when she evicted me, I sold all of the gifts that she bought me and everything. I sold everything that I could, and I turned it into a tent and a backpack and the little necessaries that you need every day: body wash, or body wipes for my body, aerosol deodorant for my stink, all of the things that I've described here for you all. What else? I got a mat and a sleeping bag and the backpack I've already said. And they were like, well, what about water? Do you have adequate? Do you need bottles of water? And I said, nope, I got this bag. And she just looks at me and she goes, you really are prepared for this. And I said, I did my research. I really sat down and I learned, what am I going to need to survive a winter? What are the basics that I'm going to need? And she goes, well, how do you keep from getting your tent stolen? She goes, all the people I talk to in here, the cops periodically just come through and seize all their stuff. And I said, well, I'm on the north side behind a strip mall, and no one knows I'm back there. No one goes back there. I see all these deer and animal and stuff, and nobody ever sees them. And she's just looking at me like, wow, that was so smart. And she asked me, she's like, are you on the bus line? I'm like, I'm right on it. It's a 10-minute walk to get to the bus. And she's just looking at me like, wow, that was so smart. So proud of me for really taking care of me, the necessities in order to survive. And she asked me, she's like, well, how do you escape the cops? Like, how do the cops not come and bother your stuff? And I said, well, the first cop that I met, I made sure to have a relationship with him and let him know where I was living and what I was doing, and that I had no intention of harming anyone, ever. That's not what I'm about. That I do want to give back to the community. I do want to participate in the economy. I may or may not get a job on the weekends just so I'm not bored out of my actual teeth. And she just looked at me so proud, and she goes, I'm so proud of you. I said, hey, I did my research. I want this. I'm having the time of my life. She really ruined me. And she goes, I'm really proud of you. She's like, you could have just collapsed and died. A lot of people do. And she just gave me the biggest hug, and she's about half my height, so I had to bend all the way down. And I didn't grab her and hold on or anything, and I broke the hug early because I know I smelled bad. I was starting to, it was warm in there, so I knew I was starting to smell bad in there. But that was nice. She put in the footwork to find me socks and gloves and an adequate hat. And when I went to, it was so funny, when I went to cash out, they're all handing me bags. They're like, take this trash bag, take this trash bag, and I'm like, I don't want it, I don't need it. And I'm like, what are you gonna do with all this stuff you get? I'm like, I'm gonna fit it in my bag. And they're looking at my bag and they're like, there's just no way you're gonna do that. And I'm like, oh well. They're like, what? Well, a blanket. I got a blanket. It's almost sleeping bag material in its own right. So if I get it in the sleeping bag, I'm a winner. I've won at life. I just win. And I'm just in such a good mood about this. And she goes, well, what about the bag? How are you going to get your sleeping bag? And I said, oh, I'll just tie the scarf to it and I'll tie it to my bag. And she's looking at me like I'm insane. Like, there's no way. And so anyway, I go to cash out, and I've got maybe 10 or 20 points worth of stuff, and the Band-Aids and the hand sanitizer and the deodorant. And I'm thinking, yeah, this is all I'm going to need for a month, 2 months. And this sort of supplies, I can really stretch this and make it last. And they've got big, I should have grabbed one, but I wouldn't have had the space for it in my bag. They had big bags of, they actually said antibacterial hand wipes. So the ones I have don't say antibacterial, but I know baking soda is antibacterial. But when I run out of these, if I don't get $1.50, there's a non-zero chance. In fact, I might just go in there tomorrow and say, hey, I'm going to grab this for the month. I don't need them right now. And that was the other thing, is I kept saying, well, I don't need it right now. And they're like, well, you're going to need it. And I'm like, well, it'll be here. I'll just come back. Somebody else will need it immediately. And if it's not here, I'll live. I'll find another way around it. And you can really tell that the people that come in there are greedy. And they take things they don't need because they can afford them. Or so other people can't have them. Like what happened with toilet paper during COVID. We all remember what happened with toilet paper during COVID. And that was just people being broadly unchristian, broadly unethical, broadly amoral, broadly irreligious, entirely self-centered, self-gratifying in their orientation. And all of that is fixable. You don't even need Jesus. You just need to orient yourself toward a community. You need to orient yourself towards something other than yourself. I mean, look at what happened after COVID ended. All the people that had like pallets and pallets and pallets of hand sanitizer that now they're trying to sell on eBay. Or they have to open a store and sell at a loss. Like, opportunism like that, especially with markets, doesn't make sense. It never made sense. Even in the 17, 16, 15, 1400s when merchants would do that during plagues. This is a common thing during plagues. Whenever the city shuts down because everybody's sick, some enterprising merchant is going to gouge the market. Think about those of you who were adults. Think about post 9/11. Think about the day of the 11th of September 2001, and then think about the next 2 weeks. And remember what gas prices did? They went from like $1.25 to $3. Do you remember the federal government making it illegal to go above $2 anywhere in the country? Because that's price gouging. That's illegal in a good modern nation state because of the actual bubonic plague, because of the actual Black Death, but also because of the Spanish flu and all of the other mass death, near extinction event plagues that have hit the near modern world. Price gouging is illegal in every modern nation state because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the entrepreneur, and it doesn't make sense for the market to allow it to happen. Taking advantage of a crisis to jack up prices is just something an evil person does. And so if you just look at the last 4 years of politics, and what have the Democrats done? Well, they've raised prices on everything. Everything. And I don't even mean since Biden's presidency. You can look at the last 4 years, which includes 2020 at this point, which was the last year of Trump being in office, and you can just look at how the Democrats raise prices on everything. Trump goes, okay, everybody gets X amount of dollars for being alive because we need to survive a plague, and the way you survive a plague is keep people active in the economy, and because we have an internet economy, people don't have to go out into the marketplace and get sick in order to interact in the economy. Think about what Bush did in his final year in office. In fact, just think about what Republicans have done in their final year in office, the last 2 Republican candidates. They've just given a massive check to the lowest income people in the country to go and buy nice shit, to go and get a good TV. Go have a good computer for your kid, not just a shit computer that you can afford, not an Acer. Go and buy your kid what are those called? An Apple. Go buy your kid a good computer, right? That's what the Republicans have done. What have the Democrats done over the course of the last 20 years? They've raised prices. That's all they've done, is jack up the prices on everything. Every single thing. We're at the point where the only things they have left to jack up prices on were gas and food, and look where we're at. Look where we're at. People with access to showers and laundry facilities can't afford food. They prioritize laundry, shower, and work over food because of the Democrats. The last 5 years, you can even say 4 years, but the last 5 years of Democrat policies, really the last 20 years of Democrat policies, have taken food out of the mouths of people in lower middle class. Now, a lot of that is their orientation and their priorities. Like me, a lot of them are prioritizing having a phone. Well, the thing is, I don't pay for my phone. My phone was a gift, and if it turns off, I am absolutely going to the cops with my domestic abuse. You just count on that. Because this is my only access to the world outside of myself. And I can't attempt to make a living in text. You guys don't know how to read. You just don't. So there's no using the computers here at the library to reach out to you. And I'm not even gonna mess with their webcam situation. The point is, it was a great day. Phenomenal day. And then I go to Christ's table to get my lunch after stocking up on supplies to get and stay warm in my tent. And I eat, and lo and behold, they had homemade corned beef hash with scrambled eggs as the binder, and it was perfect. Oh, it was so good. Fine, it wasn't Hormel, but oh man, nobody's Hormel. It was so good. Oh, it was so good. They happily gave me second portions today because you could tell that nobody but me was excited. In fact, the lady who was portioning out, I asked her, I was like, "Oh, is that corned beef hash?" And she looks at it and she goes, "I think so." And I said, "It must be my friggin' birthday." And she goes, "Well, happy birthday." I'm like, "No, not really, but this is my favorite food." They had this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they have had the exact food that I have been fantasizing about to get me through the day. I'm like, oh man. On Sunday, all I could think about was it wasn't Sunday. Monday night, all I could think about was, I can't remember what I ate on oh, I do. Monday was leftovers from Friday, but they had chicken. I wanted chicken and noodles, and they had chicken and noodles. I got chicken and noodles and beef and noodles and a friggin' pork chop on Monday. Oh my God, I was so happy about that. But all I could think about after I got out of there was hot dog. I want a friggin' hot dog so bad. Dairy Queen is doing a 2 for $5 on Coney's, and I want to suck down some chili dogs so bad. Fine, we don't have a Tasty Freeze, but that's fine. Sucking down chili dogs outside of Dairy Queen is also fine. Anyway, Tuesday they had hot dogs and baked beans. I was thinking, if I can't have a hot dog, if I can't have a Coney, it would be so great to have just some sharp cheddar and a thing of baked beans. And guess what I got for lunch? A baked beans, and she accidentally got sharp cheddar in it. I was so happy. Oh, man. And so, in my last confession, I'm going to start calling these meditations, because this is a meditation. This is how meditation works in the Western philosophical tradition, and the sense of Marcus Aurelius. A meditation is just thinking, and maybe you'll take lessons out of it. And then the Shaggy dog story is where I tell you what I'm going to talk about, and I get you ready to hear that, and then I never talk about it. My hair looks kind of nice. She called me handsome. She said that the clothes that I had picked out all matched, and that I looked she goes, "You just look so handsome." And I said, "I feel like $1 million friggin' bucks. I do. I look so good now. I look homeless, but I look like I feel comfortable, and I do. I feel comfortable." Oh man, I'm just so happy and so thankful. And then what did I say? Today was corned beef hash, and that's what I was thinking about yesterday as I was falling asleep. I was like, man, I could just smash a can of Hormel corned beef hash. And what do they have? Even better than Hormel, homemade. Because what I think about, and I'm going to keep this one to half an hour because I have a limited amount of time and I do want to get back. I need to do some more reading for me. Um, but what I want to get back to John, the meta text in John, which means I have to remind myself of. I think I ended at 3:15. That is chapter 3, verse 15, not 3:15 p.m. Quarter after 3. This is such a great day. Just such a great day. I have, I have freaking apple turnover in my bag. I've got, I've got some lemon bread. I got a whole loaf of it's white bread, but it's fancy artisan bread, so it's got whole oats, just whole oat kernels in it. And I got 4 things of butter. So I got dinner tonight, and I'm just so thankful. And so what I want to tell you that I'm most thankful for, and I can tell that the people that aren't me who eat at that kitchen and the ladies, you can tell they feel it, and it hurts their feelings. The food's not gourmet. I mean, we're not talking Gordon Ramsay's kitchen is making these portions. Just normal moms, grandmoms, dads, sons, granddads. Normal people are making this food. These recipes are just scaled up versions of what somebody in this church eats. And it doesn't matter to me. It's not beautiful. Like the hot dogs were ugly as shit, but you know what they were? Good. You know what they really were? When I was sitting in my tent and I had 2 of them freezing cold wrapped up in napkins at 8 o'clock at night, and I shoved those hot dogs down my stupid gullet. You know what I thought? I should have asked for 4. You know what I thought when I was eating that roast corn on Monday night? I should have grabbed 4. I should have been greedy. I should have grabbed more. I'm allowed. They want me to eat. And the reason they want me to eat is because my thank you is that human hands made this. Human hands. When you go to McDonald's, human hands didn't make your food. Human hands may have heated up your food, and human hands may have prepared your food, but it was all boxed and portioned by machines. Humans made my food. And when I asked, may I have 2 pieces of wheat bread today? And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, I'll give you 2. A human made that choice. A human did that. And when we talk about pre-human, human, post-human as the trismegistus of being, the thrice greatness of being, a human is someone not only who has an education and has joined a guild. They're somebody with religion. And the people at Christ's table, even if they're not perfect Christians, even if not every one of them offers me a prayer of blessing, even if not every one of them will meet my eyes and smile at me and accept my thank you, they are human because they care about humans. And the first thing, anthropologically, the first thing that separates the pre-human from the human is caring for and about other humans, humans being. Whether they're pre-human or post-human, you care. And that's what I tell people. Thank you for caring. And like the women today at the East Side, I said, thank you for your concern. I'm having the time of my life, but thank you for your concern. Because whether I begin this with your personal value and how you can measure your value or not, you can measure your value in who is concerned by you, for you. Who is concerned for you, not by you. The people who are concerned for you speak more to who you are than the actual amount of money that you have. If bon vivant are concerned for you, you've done it. You've made it. And so today, the people at the kitchen have begun to recognize and look for my thank yous. And they smile so big at my pleases. And they get so enthusiastic that I'm so enthusiastic. And that's what the woman said after she gave me a hug. She said, "You just have the most excited energy. You're just in such a good mood. You have just such a joy. And it's so great to be around you." And it's like, yeah, I'm having the time of my life. We all should be. Every day is a new chance. Not just to start over, but to be happy. I have decided that the resurrection of Christianity, that Jesus, when he brought people back from the dead, they weren't dead. They were depressed. They'd given up. They had nothing left. And so when you say, how do you defeat depression? You just never let it win. You just never stop. Because what happens is depression, Jim Carrey has this idiom where he says, well, depression is where your body needs deep rest. It's deep rest-tion. And he's not wrong. Actually, he's very accurate. Your body is stressed from being in survival mode, and it needs to rest from the survival mode. But what happens is people freeze, and they just die in their bodies. Bed death. It's called bed death. You don't think that was possible in the ancient world? You don't think that people were sad and unwilling to move from their beds, no matter what, to just let themselves starve to death? And after about 5 days, you're too weak to get up. And so all Jesus did was sit with them and touch them and tell them, you're good enough. You're loved. Let me show you. Let me show you just how loved you are. Come with me. And they got up and they leaned into him because they hadn't eaten in 10 days or whatever. Starving to death. Your body eats itself. It hurts. It's real suffering. And the acid reflux when there's nothing in your stomach and you can feel your esophagus trying to devour itself so you have something inside you to send to your bowels to be absorbed so you have something to keep you alive. And he brought them to his friends and he said, hey friends, this is Steve. And you know what happened? His friends went, hey Steve, it's good to meet you, buddy. And it changed everything for him. And so if you want to change everything for you, or you want to change everything for your life, go someplace where everybody knows your name. Introduce yourself to people. I'm Vincent. And you know what they'll do? They'll like you. And you know what people do when they like you? They give you free shit. They help. They give of themselves to you freely. Because you just gave of yourself to them freely. You gave them your name. It's working. I told you on the first week that I was going to force the magic. I was going to force God to give me a community and people who cared about me. I was going to force him to put people in my life who loved me, to prove to me that I am loved. I deserve to love just like everybody else. And I'm back up to 35 followers, which is where I was before everybody bailed on me. So someone out there has heard it and it's working. The magic is working. And it's not the secret. It's not hyper focus and obsession on me and what I want. In fact, it's a hyper lack of focus. It's taking care of the moment, what the moment needs done. And that's why I got so upset with myself for my minor mistake with the water. Is because I had done everything else right. Today I sat and I watched the top 10 mistakes you're making and why you can't, and I've made exactly none of them. Exactly none of them. 0. I'm ready for this. And the thing is, you don't need to believe. You don't know me. You really don't. You don't spend enough time with these videos. You don't comment enough. You don't talk to me. Not really. Not really. You can listen. You can sit here and but you won't believe. You can't believe. And you don't believe. And that's okay. It really is. Because you know who does believe? Everyone who meets me. Everyone. I see them. I see them. I see them believe. A woman told me yesterday, I believe. I believe. You're touched. God is in your life. God loves you more than he loves us. I believe that. I can see it. And she's not the first person this last 3 weeks. I told you I was going to force it. I was going to force God to prove that he loves me even at all. Even if it means I have to say that he doesn't love any of us, any one of us. I was going to force him to love me. And he already did. He already did. Because God's love isn't a human's love. God's love isn't a father's love. God's love isn't a mother's love. Even the mother, even the goddess. Their love isn't like our parents'. And that's great because my parents reviled me. It's not that they didn't love me. They reviled me. They hated me. They loathed me. I told my father I'm doing this. And you know what he didn't do? Lie to me and tell me he's proud. Because he's not. And great. Do you know how much weight that takes off my back? And do you know how much weight I've been carrying around that I'm not? Because you know why? Forgive me. I made mistakes. I've confessed my mistakes. And I forgive me. So I don't have to carry around the weight of judging you. Who cares? Who cares? Yeah, I'm going to moralize at you. And yeah, I'm going to tell you when you're doing wrong. But I'm not the one that's going to hold you accountable to it. I will whoop your ass if you come into my circle and want to act like a dickhead. Look at the people who have commented to me the last 2. I'll whoop your ass. I'm not afraid of anyone. Most certainly I'm not afraid of negative feedback. I'm not afraid of being told, well, you're a little bit too blank, blank, blank. A lot of people always say, well, if you get past the rough edges, he's a pretty good guy. Well, fuck you. I go by Shaggy for a reason. And anyway, they don't really understand rough edges. I spent my life in a CNC. I spent my childhood in a CNC machine shop. And one of the things my dad and I used to do was deburr rough edges. And a burr on a rough edge on a CNC'd, stainless steel part is razor sharp. My edges aren't razor sharp. I know what it feels like and what it looks like to deburr a rough edge. I don't have rough edges. I might have, the grip roughness on a metal hammer or like a wrench. I might have that going on. I might have a little bit of texturization so you can hold on. But none of my rough edges is going to cut you open severely. No, not by accident. The people who get cut open by me were already cut open. All I did was make them aware of it. And they went down and like, fuck, I'm bleeding. He just cut me. Because their cause and their relationship in their mind with cause and effect, their understanding of how in fact cause and effect works in time is flawed. And whenever you draw attention to anybody's flaws, especially of worldview, well, you're the one who did it. And so I'm just praising God. So happy to be alive. So thankful for today. It was just such a good day, which means tomorrow is gonna be bad. What comes around goes around, and so I have to be prepared for the goodness to not continue. But I woke up on time, handled everything I needed to on time, got to where I needed to be 20 minutes early, got to the library earlier than I wanted to. Today's a good day. My checklist for goodness is different than yours. All I need now is to get laid, and it may as well, I may as well have died and gone to heaven. Like if I could meet a girl, it'd just be a girl who doesn't care that I live in a tent and doesn't want me to be a status symbol and doesn't want to be my status symbol. Just meet somebody cool who likes to talk about and read the same kind of things I do, and you'll find that in a library, so you gotta be fucking careful. I'm not trying to be adopted. I'm just trying to survive the winter on my own terms. So far, so good. So far, so good. Last night, it got down. It was cold. I did a video this morning, and I looked. It was 36 degrees outside, and that's cold. Now, the difference, if you've never been outside in the cold, the difference in, I spent a winter gauging this, because I just wanted to know. And I'm like this. I talked about it at some point, that I just want to know, and the best way to know is to experience. And so I wanted to know what the difference actually feels like between freezing 33, 32, and the coldest weather I've been outside in was negative 15. And the difference in that 40-degree span is, from what you feel, nothing. After freezing, your skin, your body temperature, can't tell a difference. So what I did is I spent half an hour over the course of a winter in those dropping temperatures outside in just a light shirt to see how long, in fact, it took for my body to panic in that condition. And the answer is 30 minutes. I was able to survive the 30 minutes the whole winter in those conditions. Now, I didn't do it every night. I'd look out and see, oh, it's colder than it was last time. Okay, no jacket this time. And so the thing is, what I'm going to worry about, what I'm going to have the most trouble with is my legs and my feet. And so I got a blanket, and I got a new pair of insulated pants, and I got a new pair of socks. So, and then what you struggle with after that is your hands, your neck, and the top of your head. So the myth is that you lose most of your body heat from your head. And it's not that you lose most of your body heat from your head. It's not that your body heat is rising up out of your body and escaping the top of your head. It's that the mistake people make is not appreciating that these are heat sinks. You got to keep those covered, and you got to keep this covered. You got to keep something that's going to allow the radiant heat of your head, because your head is radiating heat, because your internal organs, your metabolism, the part of your body that's generating your body heat, it's generating your body heat in here first, and then it's pumping it all up here, because if this freezes, you die. If this freezes, you die. Everything else is negotiable. So you got to keep adequate blood flow to the hands, and you got to keep especially the hand, the palm, and the fingers, thumb, from getting cold, because that's where all the blood is going. And so what you're not thinking about, if you're not aware of this and you're not thinking ahead, is that it's not just that the blood is coming up here, hitting it, and then going, oh, that's cold. Don't go all the way up there. It's that the blood is going up there going, oh, that's cold. Now I'm cold, and coming back and cooling the whole system. That's why your body will let these die. That's what frostbite is. I almost said frostburn again. Freezer burn. That's what frostbite is. And so you can alleviate that by doing a few things. You can just generate body heat so that the excess radiation in here goes out of your body. And so that's why you see me sing and headbang and dance and pace at bus stops. And that's why I make so many videos at bus stops, is you gotta keep your metabolism going, even if you're starving. Even if you're starving, you gotta keep your metabolism going, because as soon as you let your metabolism stop, you get cold. You're gonna get cold. And so this is why people who are overweight are always hot, right? Is because their metabolisms just aren't going. and so they don't like to sweat and they don't like to shower, so they don't keep their metabolisms going so that the heat sinks of their body, and they wear tight clothes. So it's just all, everything you're doing if you're overweight is wrong. If what you want is to be comfortable. If what you want is to be comfortable in any kind of environment, what you're doing by being overweight is working against yourself. And so what I would say is a choice that's self-detrimental, you're just being stupid. And so you can look out in the world and you can say, oh, all of these overweight people, they're not unintelligent, they're just stupid. And so then instantly the empathy and the sympathy and the pity, but also the ability to not negatively judge and criticize and value judge a human being kicks in, because you go, oh, they're stupid. They just don't know any better. And then it goes away. And so the people who do know better, they remain stupid. It's not that they're ignorant. You're ignorant and stupid just means that, well, you can't be held accountable for your behavior. But if you're knowledgeable and stupid, well, you're just stupid. You can't be held accountable for your own behavior. And this is why everyone is stupid. You understand. The Democrats realized, oh, well, if everyone is stupid, if I'm stupid, I can't be held accountable. And that's democracy. That's just the direction that democracy always goes, is toward idiocracy and the stupefaction of the lowest common denominator, because the oligarchs and the plutarchs want to remain oligarchic and plutarchic. The monarchs want to remain monarchs. Why do you think England still has a monarchic representative democracy? Because the people in power want to remain in power, and the people at the bottom want to continue getting free shit. And so that's what I have to say today. The world goes round on free shit. And if you're the kind of person who's taking advantage of free shit, you're the kind of person who would have been exemplary executed 100 years ago. You're the kind of person who would have just been arbitrarily rounded up and thrown into the military or forced into prostitution 200 years ago and earlier. And so you really need to think about yourself. You want to evaluate yourself. And look, you can evaluate yourself and you can find a whole list, an endless list of places where you are lacking. And that's called sin. And you know how you get rid of all that sin? You forgive yourself for all those errors. And then you know what you do? You just go about correcting one of them at a time. Practicing doing the opposite of what you've been doing wrong. You don't have to get it every single time. It's not a pass-fail class. And the only person testing you is you. And so if you forgive yourself and you learn to love yourself the way that God loves us, which is expecting the best of us, but letting us slide at all times, giving us exactly no partial credit, but also just letting us slide. How often does God actually drop a lightning bolt on you? How many times has God dropped a lightning bolt on you for a sin, great or minor? How many times? How many times have you sinned and an earthquake dropped your house down on your head? Few times, very few times that's ever happened to you. How many times have you done something bad and karma instantly bit you in the ass? Yeah, those are called teaching moments. Instant karma is a teaching moment. And I'll tell you, every time I do something bad, karma bites me in the ass immediately because I'm paying attention. And I go, oh, well, don't do that. If that person doesn't get you back, the universe will let you know you done fucked up. Or somebody like me will be talking about something that you done fucked up, and you'll be like, oh, he's not talking about me, but he's talking about me, right? And so that's the end. I've been done for 18 minutes, but I like doing this. And so I've decided that instead of getting in my feelings about people stealing my idiom and trying to brand my idiom, I'm going to brand my idiom. And the idiom that you guys universally like the most is when I stop in my live work to say, this is for the future audience. I'm talking to the future. And so we're going to do a series of, I'm going to brand Talking to Myself. I've already got Talking to Myself Pod as a sister channel for this one. I'm going to put all of my gaming stuff where I am, it's not called Talking to Myself, Talking to the Future Pod, where I will be talking to the future while I play video games. Because while I'm talking, I'm going to be talking in the second person, but there's no one on the other end. So, speaking to the future. If you tune in, you get to be a part of the conversation, and then you get to chime in and participate in the comments or in remixes where you speak about what I'm saying, and we can have a conversation disconnected in time, a dialect even, disconnected in time that way. And then Shaggy Philalitea is going to remain my readings and my face, my speaking directly to you about what's going on in my life, which means talking to the future is going to be a meditation series. So I'll call this like talking like meditations to the future or something like that, so that it's not entirely confusing. But the pod is going to be gaming, and if I do podcast, I'm just calling it talking to myself pod. And instead of, it's not really a podcast, it's more like a time capsule, like a pod to put my stuff in for you to find in the future. And that's how I think about all my work, is being found, discovered. You have an opportunity to discover an entire treasure trove of truth and wisdom and, frankly, love. Even when I'm angry, even when I'm righteous in my indignation, it's love. Because that's what God's like. God is righteous in his indignation. When God is indignant, what does he do? Well, he changes the past to make the future better. And so I used to do the series Understanding the Past to Build a Better Future. Maybe we get back into that. Maybe I start saying that again. Because every time we look at the past and I go, well, what was the past like? What were past people like? How did past people answer our questions, our problems? They always had better solutions. Always. Always had better solutions. Do you think the solution 200 years ago was to let AI solve it for them? No. They had to put actual intelligent human beings at problem solving. Well, we don't anymore. We don't put actually intelligent human beings at problem solving. What we do, and I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was the author of Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Confession showing up again. I've referenced that book a lot. You should read it. But he says that, actually, I don't think it was him. I think it was, I can never remember the name of that book. The Montauk Project. I think it was the guy in the Montauk Project who did the Montauk Project book, says that what we have now, what we used to have, was a situation where children went out and did great things to thank mom and dad for putting them in a position to be great. And now people go out and do great things like getting high-paying jobs and important government positions, right? Important things, doing all of these high-level society things, not because to thank mom and dad, but to get mom and dad to shut up. And so they don't do the job. They just get the job so mom and dad will shut up. And that's where we're at. Everyone in the top 10% of earners and people with responsibility in the United States are only there out of a resentment of the expectation of their parents that they do something great with the opportunities that their parents gave them. And so what I have to say, now that I'm done, told you everything I want to say, is that if you have a good life, even a little bit, you owe it to your parents. It's your parents' fault. It's your grandparents' fault. It's your community's fault. And if every time you do something, anything, pay your rent, whatever, and you're not thanking the people that paved that road for you, you're not thanking the corporation that you work for, you're not thanking your management, you're not thanking your team, you're just a bad person. And that's why nothing is easy for you. That's why everything is so difficult. It's because no one knows you, no one likes you. When people like you, they go all the way out of their way to help you. And they might even give it to you for free. So what you want to do is be liked. Find a way to be liked. Be likable. And so this is the question I want to leave you with today. As Shaggy Philalitea takes himself out and reminds you to keep your eyes open, your hands up, your head on a swivel, and to do better today than you did yesterday, every day, and then eventually you will be the best there ever was, is this. Are you likable?